Good evening, everyone. I'm Nathan, here with my wonderful wife, Laura.
Hello.
And we're here to take a look at and review the board game Prehistories by The Flying Games.
Yes, we want to say a very big thank you to VR Distribution for sending this to us to review, so thank you very much. It's a really cool game.
It is. And I do like prehistoric sort of related things, so I'm a sucker for these sort of games. So
me too. So the idea of the game is that we are going to paint our tribe's cave with the hunting achievements of our tribe.
Yes, so rather than sort of explain bit by bit, let's get it set up like we're about to start a game, and then we'll take you through each sort of bit of the game.
How you play and what comes with it as well. So we've already taken everything out of the box because there's actually quite a lot to set up in here.
And we've already pushed out all of the pieces, which was a very big time saver.
Yes. So the first thing we have here is our board. It just folds in half. Now, this is a double-sided board, and depending on how many people are going to play, which side you actually need to use.
So the big difference between the 2 to 3 player side and the 4 to 5 player side is just there's more hunting zones, which we'll get to when we set up.
Yeah. So this side here is the 4 to 5 player. So these little shadowed areas are where some animals are going to go that we're going to hunt for. And each hunting zone here has a couple in it up the top and then single sections down the bottom. Over on the 2 to 3 player side, however, there's only one shadow area in each hunting zone.
Because there's less people hunting, so there doesn't need to be quite as many animals.
Exactly. It's quite long. We'll try and get everything on here for you.
So I can just adjust
we're going to run through setting up the game. Oh, sorry, trying to move it while Nathan's changing the camera. We'll run you through setting up and go from there. So you would put the board in the middle. We're going to set up as though it's a 2-player game.
Because we've only got 2 people
There's
here.
2 of us, yes. So everybody then takes a cave, which is where you're going to put your paintings.
They're all different colour. There's 5 different colours, and you also get corresponding coloured cards and
tokens and other things as well. So this is how they come in the box. They have a raised edge and then they're flat in the middle. They do have some symbols on them here where you're actually meant to stick some paintings on, some raised paintings so that they're raised like the edge.
So we left these 2 as an example of what they come with before you stick them on, and it comes included with double-sided tape, which I've actually misplaced already because I'm a bit silly like that. And then you stick the appropriate colour paintings to the appropriate colour sort of cave.
Yeah. So these are not meant to be removed at all, and they're now raised like the edge, which will stop our other tiles from moving, and it sets kind of where you can and can't place your tiles as you go through the game.
I will mention that each tile placement is different depending on the board, which may come into effect later on when you're trying to do certain objectives.
Yeah, so as you can see with the yellow lion, this one is like 2 down from the top, like in the second column and second row, whereas this one is over in the 3rd column, for example. And
these 2 handprints also come into play as well, and they're different locations on each cave too.
Yes, they are. So we would each take one. So how about you go with green since that's there, and I would take white because that's just what I happen to pick up.
So there's a whole deck here of hunters. There's 12 cards in each colour, corresponding to the caves.
Yes.
So Laura has the white. As you can see, they've actually got same people but slightly different artwork, so they're all dressed up in sort of
wintry,
really woolly
themed clothing.
Where my ones are sort of more spring, so there's less sort of clothing on because it's probably warmer, you know.
You have your red ones, then your blue. They're quite noticeable.
Yes.
The blue because it's nighttime in the background. Makes a huge difference. All right. On the back of the cards as well, do you want to give me my 12?
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah. There's your 12.
On the back of them as well, they're all matching, so you know that they all belong to the white cave, and they have the same symbol as is on our totemic paintings that are stuck on here.
So yeah, there you go. There's a sort of example of all of the paintings in the back. I shall take my 12 hunter cards.
So what you want to do with your hunter cards is give them a shuffle. I'm not doing a great shuffle because we're not actually going to play. We're just going to take you through an example. They go just somewhere on your side where you can reach near your cave. That's going to be your draw pile.
So then you need to populate. Well, actually, yes, you need to populate.
Populate your hunting zones, yes. So there is a whole lot of these animal tiles that come with this. They're all double-sided and they're very sturdy. They're not that nice thick cardboard, not like, you know, the cardboard that like cards are made out of.
I will mention that they're double-sided for a reason.
Yes.
If you notice with the fish. So on this side, they're up the right way, but if you turn it over, they're facing a different way. or sometimes they might be upside down or a different direction.
Yeah, so this one, for example, we have like buffalo on here, and if we have it this way, they're up the right way now. If we turn it over, we actually have to rotate it for them to be upright.
Which comes into play, which we'll get to when we actually start placing paintings in our cave.
Yes, so what you do with all of these is sort them by size. So we have 4 animals here, so they go in a pile with all the other 4 animal tokens.
Yes.
We also have some 2 animal tokens as well, and again they come in all different types of animals, all different directions they face. And you want to do this for every different shape and size.
We have L shape.
Yep, like a little corner, and again, they come in all different animals. We won't stack them all up because, as we showed you, there's quite a few here.
We have all the single tile ones. Same thing, they're all stacked up because once a hunting zone has been depleted, at the end of a turn you then restock using the appropriate shape.
Yes, and you don't get to pick what you put there. That's why whatever order you put them in the piles into is how they're going to come back off here and go onto the board.
Alright, so once you've sort of stacked all of your...
We're missing one. We have our legendary animals as well.
Yes, these are important. These are big square ones, and there's only a couple of these tiles in the entire game. I don't know where the other
You're
ones
missing
are.
one over there.
Yeah, there's,
Yep.
yeah, there is 5. Yeah, I was
Yes.
going to say 4. So there's each legendary animal.
Yeah, we won't read through them. You can have a look. There's a saber-tooth there and either a crocodile or an alligator. These ones are totally different animals to the ones on all of the other tiles because they're slightly more special. You can use them to actually get rid of some totem tokens, which are over here.
So the aim of the game is to obviously paint your cave with all your hunting achievements, and to get rid of all of your totem tokens. You've got 8 per player. Once you've depleted them by playing them against objectives or other things in the game, you win if you get rid of them first.
Yep. So each one again corresponds to your cave colour. So you give out, say, 8 green ones to Nathan. I've got the white cave, so I would take the 8 of the white ones.
So I'm not going to get them all out, but you can just pretend we've got 8 totems each
Yes.
that we need to get rid of to win the game.
Yes. To do that, you have to complete objectives, either on these cards here.
Or there's permanent objectives up here.
No. So the permanent objectives on the board can be repeated as many times as you want. You need to either get some animals in your cave in a line and like a column
Full
down,
column or
a
row.
row across, or if you manage to hunt a legendary animal.
So if you manage to fulfill any of those, you can place one of your totem tokens up here, and these are repeatable objectives.
as many times as you manage to achieve them. These ones are not repeatable, and you only have a few for each game. So for a 2 to 3 player game, you would deal shuffle and deal out 4 of these.
And 4 to 5 is 5.
Yes.
Because you
So-
need more objectives because there are more people vying to get rid of their totem tokens.
Yes. So for example, if we had dealt out these 4, each one of these shows a different scenario in your cave. This one shows that you need to paint animal pictures right from your top left down to your bottom right corner.
We will get to how you place your paintings once we get through like all of the hunting phase.
Yes. Here, this one is you need 8 of, so it equals the same animal, which all need to be touching in your cave. This one, for example, you have to completely surround your hunter painting that is permanently in your cave. And the other one we happen to deal out is this one where you need 5 different animals in a column.
Yes, and you can also include your totemic animal as one of those 5 too, which is very strategic.
So if these were the 4 we dealt out, we will show you the other ones after, but you would pop those ones off to the side of the board. Yep. And then we want to populate each of the little shadow areas in the hunting zones.
So this particular spot down here, this can take any different combinations of 4 animals.
Yeah, so either this sort of configuration or
that one.
that one.
So there.
Leave that there for now. You get one legendary in, oh, I don't think you can see the bottom corner down here. We have a single one here, 2, 3, 4, and legendary.
Alright, I think we're ready to start. We're going to do a mock playthrough of a single turn which consists of all players having one go.
Yes. So you first take 3 cards from your draw pile. You do not show the other player normally, but because we're not actually playing a whole game, it's okay. I'll let you see my cards.
Because it's important not to let other people know because it depends on who's going to go
It's gonna make a
first.
difference.
Yes.
Yes, so what you do is decide either if you want to hunt at all on this turn, and if so, how many cards and which hunters you want to play. So So on the first turn, you kind of have to have a look at your objectives and think, what am I going to try and go for? So if, for example, I was looking at maybe trying to get this objective with 8 of the same animal, I might think, okay, well, there's 4 mammoths here, there's 2 mammoths there. Well, they're all the same animal, so they're the ones I maybe want to try and hunt for.
Or depending on what configuration of cave you want, maybe the paint from one corner to the other one is actually not too bad to get.
Yeah, maybe that works out better for you. You can go for whichever one. You can go for more than one, of course, as well, because you do have to get rid of 8 tokens by the end of the game. So for me, if I was going to go for the mammoths, I only have hunting value, which is up here, total of 7 between all 3 cards. Each of the hunting sections has values on it, what you have minimum need of to hunt for, and whether you're going to get wounded or not.
Yeah, so wounding is quite critical because I've got a quick guide here.
It's upside down.
Okay, so there are 3 things you can do. If you hunt an animal, so if your total hunting value is in the green.
Okay, yeah, so there's 2 values on here we should mention. So one is in a little green arrow, which is good, which is 13 plus for this one, so quite high. That means if you do that, you're coming away with no wound.
Which means you can draw 2 cards from your next turn.
At the end of your turn.
At the end of your turn.
If you can only complete this value, so it's 10 to 12 in this case, it has the little broken red arrow next to it, it means you are going to hunt that animal or that group of animals, however you are wounded in the process.
And the penalty is you only get to draw 1 card instead of 2.
Yes. With your cards, when you do play them, you don't have to just go for one hunting zone. You can split and use maybe, if you had higher values than I have, potentially you could go for maybe this zone and this zone.
So for instance, I've got 5, 6 and 3. That's
14.
So I could put 3 on the number 1 here and take a wound.
1 to 3 would be a wound, yep.
And then I can play these 2 here and hunt the fish. The value is in the 10 plus
10
range.
plus is green, which means no wound.
Which means I take that, but I take a wound, which means at the end of my turn I only draw 1 card instead of 2 cards.
If Nathan had a little bit less and hunted for 1 and 2, but was in the little wound number section, so 7 to 9, and this one,
for
1
both
to 3
of them, both hunts are successful, but I draw no cards next turn.
Yeah, so if you're wounded twice or more, unfortunately, that's your penalty, not getting more cards.
And that generally means, we found, is that you pretty much miss your next turn while you recoup your hunters.
Yes. So what we do then is have a look and assess what we're going for. So I'm going to pretend I'm going to go for the 2 mammoths. I don't have enough to even think about going for the bigger section.
And with my number here, I've got 11, I've got 14. I would probably go for the legendary down here.
Okay, yep. So the legendary is 13 to 15 to capture it or hunt for it with a wound, and 16 plus to hunt for it without a wound.
So then we'll both go, okay, we throw our cards up.
So I would say I'm going to play 3 cards.
I'm going to play 3 cards.
But I wouldn't be able to see them yet.
No, and then we'd flip them.
Whoever has the lowest hunting value is faster and gets to go first. So that would be me because, as I said, I've only got 7 in total when I add up my hunting numbers. Nathan has a higher hunting value, which means he can go for a bigger animal. However, he's slower, hence why I get to go first.
Which is risky because you may go for the animal that I'm trying to get, but you might get to it first.
Yes, which obviously is not the case right now. If I had more value, maybe.
Okay, so you would go first.
So I would go first, and I would say, okay, I'm going to use all 7 points of my hunter. They then go into my discard pile over here, and 7 plus is the number needed to take this one with no wound. I then take this back. I can check either side of the token, and you can do that before you select your hunters,
which is very important because the Elder does not like abstract paintings, and any paintings that are placed in your cave have to be the right way up.
Yes, so in this case, this way, the mammoth is the right way up, and if I had it on this side, I'd have to have it upright that way. So I will then take this, and because it's my first turn, it has to be placed somewhere in the left column.
Yeah, for the very first, and then basically any turn subsequent has to be connecting to one of these tiles.
Yeah, so let me just grab another one. Then I can't put it like here on my second turn. If I got this one, it has to go either somewhere like here touching this, or it could go up here, as long as it's touching the first one in some way. Depends on what you're going for as well. where you might put it. If you were trying to get this objective we got dealt out, which is paint both your top left and bottom right corners, then, you know, starting in your top left corner would be definitely the way to go.
Yep.
Whereas maybe some of the others you might want to start down the bottom, in the middle, etc, etc.
So the key things are you can't paint your animals upside down or the wrong way. Your very first tile has to touch the far left wall.
And they always, after that, have to be touching one of the tiles you've already placed. Or if I'd happen to connect up to one of my totemic paintings, on my next turn, I could then place something touching just this one because I have that one connected to my others.
Now, what I'll do is, if you want to just... So let's say I placed it and I covered the handprints of the previous tribe that was in the cave.
Okay, hang on. There we go. Put that there for you.
Which means I'm actually basically taking more ownership of the cave or making it ours.
Yeah, so the hands are from like previous tribe who used to live there, and we're now covering that up. It's not their cave anymore, it's ours.
So for instance, if I cover up the one with 2 handprints, I can draw an additional 2 cards to whatever cards I would have picked up normally.
Yes.
And if I put it over the 1 handprint, I draw an additional card in addition to all of the cards I normally pick up.
That is correct. So pretend I've just had the 1 turn and I put this on here. Now I took that with getting no wounds. I didn't cover any hands.
Which means no wounds.
Which means I get to draw 2 cards. Had I taken a wound with that, I would have only had 1, and as Nathan said, if I got the hands, I would have taken extra, depending on how many hands I covered.
Now, I will mention, I am going to hunt for the legendary, but if I'd drawn and you'd taken something I was going to hunt, or I don't want to take a wound.
So imagine I had taken the legendary, and that was what Nathan wanted.
I'm like, gee, I don't really... I could choose to not hunt.
Yes.
Which means I keep all 3 cards, and because I didn't pick up any animal hunts...
You didn't get any animal tiles.
Correct. Next turn I draw 3, so I draw an additional 3.
Giving you a much bigger hand and larger values to work with.
Which means I can split up more, hunt more things without wounds, and you can theoretically do that with the whole deck if you kept on not hunting each turn to build them up.
That's correct.
But for this turn, I'm going to hunt the legendary. My total is 14, which is in the wound range of 13 to 15.
It's a little broken arrow there.
So I'm just going to put that into the discard pile.
So then Nathan would take that and he can then place that in his cave. Same rules apply whether it's a legendary or not.
Now, the legendary has 2 functions. One, it's just cool because, you know, they're legendaries. But it also is a repeatable objective. So I can take one of my totem tokens and place up here saying I've hunted a legendary. I got rid of one of my tokens.
So now Nathan would only have 7 left to place before he won the game.
Because I took it with a wound, it means I only get 1 draw card, which means next turn I only have 1 hunter I could theoretically play.
Yep, so it means you can still then, in the next round of initiative, which is where you decide how many you're going to play, you can still go for a small animal, or Nathan could decide not to hunt again, so that way he would get 3 cards instead.
So
after that.
What I would do next turn, if this was a real game, I probably wouldn't hunt, because just having 5 wouldn't get me a whole lot.
Not this early in the game. Maybe you specifically need a smaller one later, then you might just go for 1.
So I'd abstain from hunting, pick up another 3 cards my next turn, and then when it comes to the following one, I'd have 4 cards to play.
Yeah. So what you do is you keep doing that with everyone having a turn each round. After everybody's had a turn in that one round, you restock any areas that have been hunted just off the top of the same sized pile, like that for example. Then you would bid again with whatever cards you had in your hand at the time.
And if we had, I mean, the 2-player game, same thing happens if you've got 3, 4, or 5. A turn consists of each person having 1 go, then it's restocked. It's not after each person has a go.
No. So what you do is you keep working until you meet the objective. So you might have 8 of the same animal. What do we have handy? Buffalo?
Fish.
Hang on, I've got a bunch of buffalo.
A bunch of buffalo.
Bunch of buffalo, yep. I don't know. Someone let us know what a group of buffalo is. I don't know. Is it a herd? Probably. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, so if I manage to place all of those there, then ta-da, I have at least 8 of the same animal touching, I would then take 2 of my totem tokens and place them on the card because I'm the first person to achieve this.
Now the difference between the ultimately repeatable ones and these ones, these are one time only. So Laura can't complete this again.
No.
I can complete it, or other players can complete it, but if I choose to do it after someone else has already got the 2 tokens, I can only earn 1.
Yes. So, you know, if you're almost there at completing this when someone else gets it, you're still going to want to go for it because you'll at least get rid of 1 token, a totem token. You might not want to go for that from scratch, though, at that point, if the main sort of one is already gone.
No, and once both the main objective and the secondary sort of one is completed, that objective's out of the game and no one else can complete it.
Yes. Okay, so the other ones we've showed those. There's also obviously several extras. This is the sun side of the card,
which is considered probably the easier side, I believe the manual refers to.
So they recommend playing these first. So this one is connecting your 2 totemic paintings together that are already in your cave. This one is completing a square.
3 times 3, yep.
Yep. Then we have this one, which is 5 of the same or equal animal in 1 column.
I will mention that they don't all have to be next to each other. So if I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but there's a gap in the middle, that still counts as completing it.
Yeah, as long as they're still in the same column. This one is to place 5 different
single tiles.
So these ones here. And then this one is to surround a legendary tile in. So obviously you have to capture, or hunt for, sorry, a legendary animal there.
I will mention that you can also use the edges, which count as enclosing, so I don't have to do sort of these 2 sides.
Now on the back of all of these cards, if you want to have a bit of a trickier game, there are night objectives as well, or moon objectives. This one you have to surround both of your totemic animal paintings completely.
But that one gets you 3 totem tokens, or 2 if you do it second.
Yes. So I mean, getting rid of 3 when you only have 8 is, you know, that's a good start.
There's a lot more work to do that.
And this one is to complete the right hand side. Obviously you have to start from the left.
So that's actually quite difficult to do.
This one is to have 5 of the same in a row instead of column like the other one.
And that wants to get 3 of the 3 different
hunting zones.
Yeah, in 1 turn.
Yes, so you probably want to build your hand up to do that one. This one's to have 2 legendaries next to each other.
That one's to have 10 of the same animal all connected instead of 8.
Fill in your 4 corners of your cave.
Have 5 different animals in a row. You can also use your totemic animal tiles to complete that. And this one is having the same animal surround
different
animals surrounding your hunting painting.
Yes, so that one could be quite tricky as well. And you may have noticed that more of these had 3s, whereas the sun sides only have 2 in that corner at the most. So they are the trickier ones. You can play with a combination of both sides as well. You don't have to have like all sun or all moon. If you want to just maybe have one of the trickier ones, or 2 or 3, or whatever you feel comfortable with.
So this is a very strategic game.
Yes. It recommends about 30 minutes, which I would say if you're just having like a nice friendly general game, yep, about 30 minutes, but you could totally make it harder and, you know, sit there and really think about your strategy of where you're going to place, what are you going to take that you think someone else wants.
Because you can block people and hunt things, like you can see other people's paintings and you can go, well, you're definitely going to go for the 8 in a row, or 8 of the same animal or something.
You can kind of see what they're working on. Like if I had these in here and Nathan could see that I had this many buffalo and we happened to have the objective that was going for 8 of the same, Nathan's going to look and go, well, she's obviously going for more buffalo, you know, to complete that one.
And the great thing is, if you've got all the objectives have all been completed and you somehow still haven't had a winner, you've always got the infinitely repeatable ones, which just means filling up your cave. So there's no sort of, you can't stalemate yourself.
No. So, you know, filling up the column or across in a row. So they're a little bit easier to do because you don't have to think about which animals you use for those ones. I think that's just about everything. So it's actually a lot of fun. We've played it a couple of times just to kind of familiarise ourselves with it, and it's definitely one we'll play again.
I think so, definitely.
So I want to say a big thank you once again to VI Distribution for sending this to us to review. It's been a lot of fun. If you enjoyed watching this video, give us a thumbs up. Let us know in the comment section down below if you might be checking out this game in future as well.
Or if you've happened to have played it.
Yes, hit that subscribe button and check back soon. We have videos every single Tuesday.
Sounds good.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.